What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Lazy Girl World, and we are back talking about episode 6 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So before we get into it, if you're not already subscribed to me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you can get notified every time I upload. Like, comment, share. If you have a video that you would like for me to watch and review / spoil / give my thoughts on, go ahead and leave it down in the comments below and I will most definitely look at it. Okay, back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So the episode starts with Sybil talking to one of the guy hunters or guy chronicoms, and basically she's just like, wake up the hunters. So they're like, okay. We then skip to, and obviously there's a lot of skipping because this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We skip to General Stoner and everybody in the lighthouse looking for the Zephyr because the Zephyr blew up Project Insight, and obviously came out of nowhere to them because they're like, whoa, our spaceship just blew up. So they're looking for it, and then some of the other like S.H.I.E.L.D. people bring in Coulson and May because obviously Coulson and May got caught last time. They were going to blow up or flood the place, but then didn't get to flood the place, but then they got caught. Remember? So, Stoner kind of like interrogates them just a smidgy, not enough to make a difference. But they're like, it wasn't me, it wasn't us. But even though technically it was them, so they lied. Yeah. But Stoner was able to track Z1 by a tracking system that was given to Malik, and Coulson and May were shocked because they're like, Zephyr will be okay, and they were like, no, they won't. So then we skip to Yo-Yo and Mac, who are actually in the lighthouse at the same time as Coulson and May, because they're trying to get Mac's parents. And also at the same time, they're having Simmons scan for Daisy and Sousa because Daisy and Sousa are missing, and also for the Chronicom ship because they're like, we're going to get taken and killed or blown up if we don't find the Chronicom ship, because they obviously know who we are, where we are. So then we go back to the lighthouse. Lighthouse has initiated lockdown protocol, and the missiles are aimed at the Zephyr. But obviously, General Stoner, well, not obviously, but General Stoner's like, who's doing this? I didn't authorize this. Told you to find them, didn't tell you to do lockdown protocol and all of that. But turns out, Lighthouse has been hijacked, but they are unaware of by who. Obviously, we can all guess, but no one knows. No one actually knows yet. So the missiles are launched, and the Zephyr gets hit, but only with one of them. But it does do a little damage. But there were like 6 missiles that came after them. So I think, only getting hit by one, it's kind of great. I don't know if you agree, but whatever. So then we skip to Daisy and Sousa, and now they're being held in a barn by Nathan. So Nathan comes and he basically tells them that, they changed his life when he saw them, when he saw Daisy do her little quake stuff. And he knows she's inhuman, but also thinks Sousa is inhuman because he hasn't aged, but obviously he doesn't know. They're traveling through time, so kind of don't have a chance to age. But he doesn't know that. He just assumes he's an inhuman. And Sousa's like, no, I'm not. And Nathan's like, you better be. So really don't know why he really wanted him to be, I guess that he aged slow. So then he tells them that he talked to Reinhardt / Whitehall, and he says discovery requires experimentation with the something Whitehall said. So basically letting him know he about to experiment on them. Daisy tries to like quake to get them out of that, but she couldn't for whatever reason, probably because she was still iced or knocked out. So yeah, they're stuck in the barn. So then boom, we go back to the lighthouse. We find out the lighthouse, obviously, like all the other places they go to, has been infiltrated by the Chronicoms, or else it wouldn't have been taken over. The little systems wouldn't have been hijacked. So they tell General Stoner about the Chronicoms. Obviously, he still doesn't believe them because he's got them in an interrogation room. He's like, shut up. So then this female, or this lady agent comes in, and she's like talking to them, try to get a little bit of information out of them, and she touches Coulson and May's shoulders. May's like chronicom, and I was like, as soon as she walked in the room, I was like, she's creepy. She has to be a chronicom, because no one smiles like that. That was the smile. That was the smile. It was creepy. And at the same time, May and Coulson learned that Malik is dead. Obviously, they didn't know yet because Deke hadn't really told anybody. He does tell Mac at some point or earlier, but obviously Mac is kind of not happy about that. May and Coulson weren't on the ship when he told them, so blah blah blah. So we go back to the ship and we realize the shield that holds the ship together is broken. So, which means that if the ship decides to time jump at any point in time and the shield's not back together, then the whole ship won't be taken through time. Only a piece of it will, and obviously another piece would be left, and sounds like death and destruction for everybody. So they have to fix it, and Gemma goes to like fix it, and she's like, I don't remember how to fix it. Am I supposed to, is this something I'm supposed to remember to know how? And Enoch's like, oh, don't worry, everything will be okay. And I'm still just like, man, Enoch says he's a friend, but why does he always respond like that? Don't worry, everything will be okay. And remember, Gemma still has that little thing in her neck. We don't know what that's from. It's got like 3 little dots, 3 little red dots. We don't know why that's there yet. So I'm feeling like Enoch's up to something. But we'll see. So go back to Mac and Yo-Yo in the lighthouse. They find his parents. Hooray! Obviously, because that would have been kind of sad. I mean, Mac and his brother would still be alive because they had already had him. But yeah, it would be kind of sad if they did not survive. So they make it out of the room and they tell them they have to override to get the mainframe control so that everybody can get out. So we learned from Coulson and May that the Chronicoms have learned to adapt. So I believe the title of the episode is Adapt or Die. So the Chronicoms have learned from Coulson how to adapt. Because initially, they just kind of come in and you're like, you don't have any emotion. You're a Chronicom, but now they're kind of getting smarter. They're able to smile. They would be fake pleasant, blah, blah, blah. So we learned that they're able to not only steal the person's face, but also steal their memories and their personalities. That way they can act accordingly. And yeah, so that comes in later. So obviously we realize Agent K is leading Stoner somewhere. They say, oh, we need you to help override so we can get our lighthouse back. And you're like, oh, okay. But I still don't trust you, Agent K. And we see that a Chronicom is taking over someone else as well. A guy. So now there are 2 Chronicoms. And they kind of have them like laid there. So then you see the person, but then you see the Chronicom. And they're like kind of like stealing the memories and their personalities and everything. So they take Agent Stoner to do the override. But then obviously, boom, gets knocked out. And then Coulson and May come and save him. Because they're like, you know, May's like, that lady is a Chronicom. So they go, they fight the Chronicoms, save him. Unplug Stoner from the machine because they were about to take his memories and personality and face. And he pops up and he's like, I believe you now. I believe you. I believe you. So obviously he's going to help them escape and take back the lighthouse and all of that good stuff. So May is going to then link up with Mac and Yo-Yo because obviously they're all in the lighthouse. Coulson sees a ladder going down, and he remembers one of the Chronicoms saying, we're going to bring up more of the hunters. And he's like, but we're in the bottom. This is the bottom floor of the lighthouse, so there should be no ladder. There should be nothing right here. So, you know, obviously he goes down the ladder. But then, boom, but we go back to Nathan and Daisy and Sousa. Turns out, well, not turns out, we knew it was about to happen, but he took some of her spider fluids and her glands, and he decided he was going to synthesize them and give them to himself because obviously he wants to be an inhuman. So then Sousa tries to comfort Daisy because obviously she's all like, all, you know, feeling woozy and lightheaded. Like, you know, they tapped her spine, so obviously you know you're tired after that. I'm assuming he didn't give her anesthesia. And honestly, it's just crazy how this man went from being like Nathan, went from like a zero, a nobody, to a psychopath. That's the best way I can put it. He went to a psychopath. So all of a sudden he wants to be like Whitehall, who was in Hydra but kind of not Hydra, because they were like, "Oh, you're part of Hydra," and he was like, "No, I don't worship an octopus." So he's like, "But I do remember something about the Inhumans, so I want your powers, Daisy, and I want your powers, Sousa," even though Sousa does not have powers. So then, you know, Sousa's telling her this story, trying to comfort her to keep fighting, and then Daisy pulls a piece of glass out of Daisy's hand. So I don't know where she got that glass from or how she had that big old thing in her hand. It grossed me out, and I realized I would not be able to escape. I'm not sticking a piece of glass in my hand. I don't care. I don't care what's happening. I guess I'll just have to die. So, you know, Sousa pulls the glass out and he's like, "All right, cool. As soon as I get the chance." Then we skipped it back to the Zephyr. And Deke walks in on Enoch like I'm messing around in Gemma's neck. I forget which side it is. I think it's I'm messing around on Gemma's neck. And he's like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" He picks up these electric paddles. Enoch turns around, boom, shocks him, knocks him out. Gemma's like, "What have you done?" He was helping me. And you're like, I don't know if him messing around your neck is helping you. So then we go back to Coulson. He goes down there. He goes down the little ladder, and he sees hunters just lined up along the walls. He also sees this little panel with these like little two glowing white orbs. So he sticks his hand, I guess, like inside of the orb somehow. And then, boom, we shift away. Then we see Mac fighting the Chronicoms, trying to protect his family. Obviously, it's kind of hard for him because he's a human and they're robots. But, you know, he's holding his own. He's holding his own. Boom. Back to Coulson. He's talking to Sybil, or what she likes to call herself, or I guess they call her the Protector. And if you've made it this far and you're like, man, who is this lady Sybil? She actually was like the director on Bones, or not the director of the show Bones, but she was like the director of the department on Bones. That's her. Also, I remember her being a lot more like, come in, busting heads. And on this one, she's like, my name is Sybil, and I can read the timeline. It's like, I liked you better when you were beating people up. You weren't so annoying. So it's such a know-it-all. But anyway, so she says that she can read the past and the possible futures. So Coulson goes ahead and he asks all the questions. He asks about Mac, asks about Daisy if she's going to make it out, and why the Chronicoms feel like they should survive and not the humans. And she tells them, because we have more time than you. We'll live longer than you, and after you're gone, we'll still be alive. So we feel like we should get this Earth. We feel like y'all should give it up. That's the difference between you and us. Time. And then obviously Coulson differs. He's like, let me tell you, that's not the difference. The difference isn't time. The difference is sacrifice. The fact that we're willing to put our lives on the line for each other. The fact that we're willing to, well, I guess put your lives on the line is the biggest. I should have started off small. We're willing to give up our food. We're willing to fight for each other. We're willing to put our lives on the line for each other. That's the difference. And it's a real sacrifice because, you know, we're giving up more than you than just time. So Coulson goes ahead. He pulls out his hands out of that thing. And he goes and he blows up that ship. And himself with them. And we're just like, okay. So Coulson's gone and the ship is gone. So now what, Coulson? Are you going to come back in another LMD, buddy? Or what? So yeah, Coulson's gone again. I feel like he's gone like every season, but he's gone for real this time. Maybe. Go back to the barn. We see Sousa and Daisy. Obviously, they're still kind of like, oh no, what's going on? So then a guy tries to come in and take Sousa. Sousa's like, not today. I got some glass. So and then knocks the dude out, and then gets the key, uncuffs himself, uncuffs Daisy. As he's trying to walk away with Daisy, the whole barn starts shaking, and he looks at Daisy and he's like, and that's not you, is it? It ain't her. She's still knocked out. She still can't do anything. Turn around. It's Nathan, and he's like, I can feel my bones shaking apart. And it's like, ha, that's what you get. I forgot. You know how long it took Daisy to figure out how to not do that? She had to wear special bracelet. Do you think you're gonna get it on the first time? No. So, you know, a whole barn comes down, I believe. Or he not the whole barn, but a piece of the barn comes down, knocks Nathan out, barn starts shaking, Daisy and Sousa get away. And they're able to get back to the ship. So Enoch ends up refixing Gemma's memory because, after he woke up and Gemma was like, well, what have you done to Deke? He ends up fixing her memory, and Deke's like, I am sorry. I did not know that you were not bad. I should not have knocked you out, and you are a very valuable member of the team. And obviously that made Enoch happy because they left him for like 40 years, so he felt good to know he was a great part of the team. So it turns out the implant is actually one that Gemma put in herself. She calls it Diana. She put it in because she knows Fitz's location, because they had to go to a point in time and space where they were able to see the Chronicons, but also it's a very vulnerable space where they are at. So, she's trying to hide from herself and everyone Fitz's location. So she put a bio implant in her neck, but it was malfunctioning and has been malfunctioning for like 3 or 4 episodes. And the problem was that she was remembering things that she wasn't supposed to know and forgetting things that she was supposed to know. And obviously she says to Deke afterwards that it's, that's imperative that he does not speak of this. Nobody can know that he knows that there's an implant in her neck, because then the implant gets taken out and boom, Fitz's location is given up. So then we go back to Mac and Yo-Yo, and Mac is still fighting the Chronicons, but then General Stoner comes up and shoots one of the Chronicons and, saves Mac, obviously, because he was on his last leg. You fight 2 Chronicons and you still gotta fight another one? No. I would have lost at the first one. First punch in my face. I guess we're done. Don't know if I have the sacrifice for you. Don't know if I can sacrifice any more than my face. They're able to lift the lockdown and get everybody out. So then May talks to General Stoner, tells him to clear the base, tells him to create a cover story. And then she says, say it's like a hydrogen wave crisis. So I can't remember if the hydrogen wave is something integral to Marvel. I can't remember if that happened in one of the movies or in the TV show earlier. But that's what she tells him to do. And he's like, got it. So, obviously they go back on the ship so they can get back to the Zephyr, and they're like, where's Coulson? And May's like, he's dead, but don't worry, he'll come back. He always comes back. So, it was part of a conversation or an argument they had when they were being interrogated earlier. So she's not feeling any type of way, even though she hasn't been feeling any type of way, but she's not sad about the fact that he's not there, because she feels like he'll come back. And so then it's Mac, Yo-Yo, May, and Mac's parents on the ship, trying to get back to the Zephyr. And then Mac's dad comes up to May and he's like, man, thank you for really helping us. You really saved us. Thank you so much. And she's like, no problem. Then she basically hovers that ship and is like, Mac, let me talk to you. She's like, that ain't your dad. He's like, think you're wrong. And she's like, I know I'm not. We gotta figure it out. So then Mac turns around. He's like, sir, because obviously it's not calling him mom and dad, because that would be a little weird for them. He's like, sir, can I see your arm? And the dad's like, He's like, can I see your arm? You hurt yourself earlier. Just want to make sure you're okay. And the dad's like, not necessary. And he's like, let me see your arm. And he's like, no. And then he's like, let me see your arm. And he's like, fine. See, I'm a chronic cop. He proceeds to punch Mac in the face. And I was like, oh man. Obviously, and immediately you're like, okay, so if he is a chronic cop, then that means that his dad's dead. And so in my mind, I was like, oh, he's a chronicom, but the mom's not. That's going to be a shocker. Let me tell you, I was shocked. He was a chronicom, the mom was a chronicom, and he had Mac all choked up, and he was like, your parents been gone for a minute. And I was like, oh no, they've been gone for too long. I wonder how long they've been chronicoms, because like, have they been pretending for that long? I guess specifically, or not specifically, that's not the word I'm looking for, but at the very least they were chronicoms in the last episode. So for at least a couple days they've been chronicoms. So obviously Mac's sad about that, because he's like, I remember the 4th of July. I remember all the things that we did. We're supposed to, you know, like, because obviously it's happened on 4th of July. He's like, we're supposed to be, you know, playing with fireworks and doing all these things and eating hot dogs and stuff. And so he's sad. So they beat them up. They knock him out of the ship. Everybody's on the ship except for Coulson, obviously. Ship jumps to a year. They don't tell us the year. So the ship jumps. And Mac leaves the Zephyr. And he's sad, obviously, because his parents are dead. And then Deke goes out after him. And Deke's like, hey, man. Or actually, not hey, man. Gemma calls Deke, and she's like, Deke, you got to get back. And he's like, look, I found Mac. I'm just going to go talk to him. I know how he feels, obviously, because Deke doesn't have his family. And she's like, no, we're about to jump. You have to get back now. You have to get back. So Deke calls to Mac. Mac's like, not even listening to him. So then ship jumps, and Deke and Mac are stuck in whatever year. We don't know the year yet. I'm hoping it's like closer to the year 2000s, because I couldn't stand Mac's tight pants on this episode. So a lot of things happen in this episode for sure. I think, well, one of the most concerning things is like, does Daisy still have her powers? Because for whatever reason she couldn't quake when she was knocked out, which was weird to me. And it took her a lot longer to kind of like, and she never actually shook the she never shook like being iced like Sousa did, and he was fine, and she was still just kind of like slumped the entire time. So will she get her powers back? You know, I don't know if he actually took it. I mean, obviously it's a part of her. She didn't take the super serum, so I don't know. It's weird. It's confusing. And then what's gonna happen with Deke and Mac? Because now they have to kind of just like live through the time. Like, will we see them, but later on in life they've had aged like 10, 15, 20 years so they can get to the point of the Zephyr? It's very confusing. I don't know. But I am sad for him, because also I was like, how does this change his memories? Because obviously he remembers his parents being there up to his life, to whenever they died. But now they are dead, and he was the one to kill them in the future. So as a child, what does he remember? Does he now, do they go into foster care? And is he able to know both timelines right now? That would be super interesting to know. I cannot wait until Fitz is back on the show. I love him. He's like my favorite character. I like his little accent. So yes. All right, you guys, so that does it for Adapt or Die, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 7, Episode 6. I will see you guys next Thursday. Goodbye.